Good morning, everybody. It's me, Darlene. I have Parkinson's disease. I feel the need to say that because if there's somebody new watching, they may not know why I'm sitting wiggling in my chair. It's not that I've ants in my pants, but pretty close to it. Anyway, I'd like today to talk a little bit about a new medicine. There isn't a lot of new medicines that come out for Parkinson's, so there's sort of the gold standard, which is the Sinemet or levodopa. Everybody kind of goes through that stage usually first, but sometimes in a different order. But there comes a time, a few years down the road, when that gold standard, that levodopa, isn't doing its job. It's trying, but it's not succeeding. And as you progress through this, the off times of your medicine not working become much harder to handle, emotionally especially, but much harder to handle, and you become a little bit desperate as to what's the next step. For me, this is only me speaking. I'm definitely not a doctor. I don't take medical advice. Go see somebody who's in the know. I was at that point where I was taking an awful lot of the levodopa. I was taking 18 of the regular Sinemet tablets during the day, every 3 hours. And then at night I had one overnight, which is a double strength levodopa, but it's a slow release. So the last doctor's appointment we had, we discussed medication and knew it was time for a change. One of the medicines we had tried previously was entacapone, and it was supposed to make my levodopa work better, and I got very, very sick from it, and so therefore that was no longer an option for me. When they start taking away the options when there is only a few of them, you start to get a little bit desperate. But anyway, my daughter did a very big job of research, and she had a few questions for the neurologist when we went in this last time. And we went in hopeful, but not really expecting too much. So we went in, and the neurologist, I said to her, would there be any benefit of me taking 2 of the long-acting overnight levodopa because I'm not sleeping? And she said that wouldn't be a problem. She said, we can definitely up that and we'll see how that does. So about 3 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I guess, we made that change to my medication. And then I did a video on the patch. That was the new medication. This is called an antagonist. And what the purpose of this antagonist is it is going to allow my levodopa to get to the correct part of my brain and make it work. Now, from what I've read, the maximum dose on one of these patches is 8 milligrams. Once you hit 8 milligrams, then new changes have to happen. And again, there's not a lot of new changes out there, but there's a lot of research. So you start off with 1 milligram. So I've now started this antagonist patch at the 1 milligram level. So when you have the 1 milligram level, I know that I've got a little bit of range up to get up to the 8 before that changes. So I want to drag out as long as I can the lower doses of this. It is also a very heavy on the side effect medicine. And they're not nice side effects. So therefore, I don't want to have more of that medicine than I need in my body. One of the side effects that you can have is hallucinations. And I personally think that could be very scary. So I really don't want that to come down right away. So I was told that this was going to be a great medicine. And when I first put it on, I wasn't feeling the great medicine part. I was thinking, this is not doing anything. Like this, what am I doing? I'm taking the risk of a side effect and I'm not getting a benefit. But about a week and a half into it, I was told to be like magic. And you heard me say the other day, I've got the magic. It's about a week and a half into it, I noticed the difference. That was the first night that I had my night's sleep without having to get up and take medicine in the nighttime. And just that fact alone, getting some sleep, makes a difference. Now you'll notice that this is 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm up. So it doesn't mean that every single night that I sleep. It means that there is times when I will have the ability to stay in bed and sleep. Now, some of the other benefits, to me, this is the true benefit to this, is my off times. I used to have every 3 hours, an hour and a half of good time and an hour and a half of off time. Now, my off time, I was just frozen. Like my legs didn't move, my hands didn't move. Time was very slow when you're frozen up. Now, with this patch, I have a little bit of that off time, but nothing like I did before. I can sometimes go from one dose of medicine to the next and not have an off time or have just a small little tingle and maybe my hands are a bit unusable, but not the way it was. So for me, not having that terrible off time allows me to have a little bit more freedom and a little bit more natural ability to my life. For example, yesterday we had lab work to do, my daughter and I. Now normally, if I had been on just my other medicine, that would have been the whole day that we did. We would have gone to the lab, come home, and it would have taken me the rest of the day to recover from having gone out that trip. And it would have been a miserable trip because we wouldn't have made the whole trip without my body freezing, and it would have been terrible. Yesterday, I took my medicines. I went with her to the lab. While we were at the lab, it was time for another dose of medicine. I hadn't frozen up. I took my medicine. After that, we went over to the shopping center. I got myself another tablet, not this one, but another small tablet that allows the camera to switch. I found out that's the reason I couldn't do it. So I got this other tablet to use, which I'm going to start with tomorrow. Because again, I have to make sure I've got it set up and stuff, and I'm not very smart that way. But the medicine, this new patch, has enabled me to go out and sit in the car comfortably while she went running into the stores, or go into the stores that I wanted with her. And when I came home, yes, I was tired, but I wasn't completely done in. And I had a short time of freezing at supper time and a short time of freezing before bed, but nothing like what it had been. And for me, that means everything. It's just, it made the quality of that day so much better. And it means that possibly when our social club has their meetings downstairs, I'll be able to attend. I was beginning to think that Bill would have to go without me. And, it's nice when we can attend these things together. So I'm really enthusiastic about this medicine, knowing that as it stops working, and hopefully that's not for a while, but as it stops working and we have to increase it and the side effects get worse, knowing that there's not a great amount of choices after that. There is surgery. I doubt if I'm a candidate for it. But there is a deep brain stimulation surgery that's available. But like I said, you have to meet certain criteria to be qualified for that. And I am not sure whether I would meet that criteria or not. Anyway, that's my medicine story. I'm very happy to report that I am doing way better with it. And I am loving the fact that I have some freedom. And I'm hoping it lasts. Now, again, wouldn't be a day with me if there wasn't some kind of a little story. So I'm going to tell a story about my husband today, which there's many stories I could tell about my husband, but this one here was really pretty funny. He had we lived in a small town in British Columbia, and he had gone into the doctor's office. Now, when you go in, typically you wait in the waiting room, and then they say, call your name and take you back into the room and close the door, and you wait again. It's a waiting game. Well, he waited for a little while out in the waiting room. It didn't take him very long until they came out and said, "Hey, do you want to come back to the waiting room?" And he said, "Sure." So he went back and he chit-chatted with the nurse on her way back, and they set him down, and they said, "Doctor will be right in with you." And they closed the door and put the file on the outside. So he waits for the doctor to come in, and he waits for the doctor to come in, and then he waits a little longer for the doctor to come in. And by now he's going, it's taken quite a while for this doctor to come in. And then he notices it's kind of quiet out there. So he decides to go out and see what's going on. So he opens the door. Not a soul in the waiting room, the reception area. He's locked in to a doctor's office at lunch hour. They've all gone to lunch and left him locked in the room, completely forgot that he was there. So I guess it's good that he wasn't a person who was going to rob the place, but he just sat down and waited and read a magazine until the doctor came. But anyway, so next time you're waiting in that waiting room all by yourself, keep an ear to the door. If it gets real quiet, peek out. Have a good day, everybody.